Well, good morning, everyone. Mayor Steve Wilder here from the city of North Canton. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you had a good Labor Day weekend, safe and enjoyable. And here we are for a new week for Wednesday, September the 8th, 2021. I want to bring you up to date on a few things. First of all, the North Main Street repaving project is on schedule. It started back on August the 18th that week, and we're looking at probably 4 more days of paving. That is still getting the foundation down for the next phase on North Main to Orion. But weather permitting, with the fear of rain today, we held off, but looks like tomorrow's going to be a better day, and we'll get things going for us. So hopefully 4 more days of paving. And that includes not only the base coat, but also the top coat for the finish coat, all the way from 7th Street all the way up to Orion Road. Thank you. Just want to bring you up to date on that. And again, thanks for your patience on traversing that area. It's going to look great when it's done, and we'll have it all done before the snow flies. This came in last week, reference our former North Canton Mayor's Court. Way back on December the 27th in 2017, the North Canton Mayor's Court was terminated. Any defendants that have a balance due or whose driver's license has been suspended by North Canton are urged to pay their fines by December the 30th of this year, December 30, 2022. Failure to do so may result in difficulties reinstating your license. So payment arrangements can be made by contacting 330-499-8223, extension 1001. I know that said December 30th, 2022. That might be 21. All I'm going to say is get it in, pay off your fines, and so you can get reinstated. Stark County Health Department update, my Tuesday meeting calls. Here you go. Here's the news from Kirk Norris from our Stark County Health Department. 65,626 doses given to date. And they're averaging about 70 to 80 new cases of COVID per day. And they've vaccinated over 180,000 plus people, 12 years and older, which accounts for about 57.4% of the county being vaccinated. As we go back in our figures in June of this year, 198 people were admitted with COVID-19 symptoms, 400 elevated in July, and in August itself, 1,733 were 1,723 in August, and those are people who are suffering from a variant of the COVID-19. The variant is still high. We still have a high transmission here in Stark County, along with several other counties in the state. At the state level, 6,126,173 people have been vaccinated, for about 52% of the entire population. That would be 12 and older. Unfortunately, in Alliance, again, they're averaging about 10 to 12 cases per day. Vaccinations are up, but it's slowing down. They're also teaming up with Mount Union to do some vaccinations there as a site. Massillon, same issue. Cases are up. Contract tracing is difficult for all of our health agencies as they try to go back and see who the victims of COVID-19 have been contacted. Their vaccinations have dropped off a little bit. Altman Hospital, as of Tuesday, they had 64 patients in Canton, 6 in Alliance and 6 in Orville, and they had 22 people in ICU or critical care, 9 in ICU and 10 in on a ventilator. They're also seeing a positivity rate of 19%. They had 15 employees out with COVID-like symptoms. There is going to be a mobile vaccine program continuing. Liz Edmonds is handling that, and she is working with a number of agencies to get out and have mobile vaccination areas throughout Stark County. From our schools, Joe Chaddock, unfortunately 1,500 students were quarantined since the first of the year. That means they're out of school for about 10 days. And when you multiply that, that's about 1,500 days, or 1,500 days of lost student days. And that was just in the first 2 weeks of school. They're still requesting, or let me just say, recommending masks and staying 3 feet distancing to help curb the COVID-19 experience. As we approach this weekend, it is the 20th anniversary of 9/11, the attacks on the United States, the terrorist attacks. Locally here, we are not coordinating anything specifically for that day. There are a number of things happening in the county that I'm suggesting that you want to participate in, but it also could be your own personal day of remembrance, reflect, and never forgetting what occurred 20 years ago. And some of you may reflect as to where you were 20 years ago. But we've had a few agencies step up, and one company I'd like to highlight is Van Ostrom, Young, and Coots Insurance. For the second year, they're providing meals for our law enforcement and our safety personnel, our fire, paramedics, and EMS firefighters. And that's going to be on a special day at our Dogwood Park from 3 to 9. They're going to be providing meals for all the families of our first responders and our safety forces. So thank you very much for Van Ostrom, Young, and Coots Insurance for taking care of and remembering our officers that are on duty and working to keep our community safe. So thank you very much. You may have seen in the repository, I've heard there are a number of things happening. One is happening that the Canton first responders and I believe Plain Township firefighters are putting together to remember our the 9/11 fallen 343 firefighters who died in the terrorist attack back on 2001. And those firefighters and police are going to combine to scale the 96 steps to the McKinley National Memorial in memory of the 343 firefighters killed on September 11th, 2001. That year, and this year they're going to do that again. And if you want to go down, let me double check here. That is, I didn't see the specific times, but that's going to be in the morning. And they do have a website I believe you can go to. Firefighters and police from across Stark County and the members of the community are invited to join the 9/11 Memorial climb. And that's going to be, again, on September the 11th. That'll be that Saturday. The public is invited to climb also. The event will begin at 8:15 in the morning with a remembrances, and the climb will start approximately at 8:46 a.m. For more information, contact the fire department in Canton at 330-438-4579. Today, at St. Paul's Church at 241 South Main Street, they are offering a patriotic rosary, and that's at 12:15 a.m. today, and that happens every Wednesday. And it is a celebration of life and also a reflection of all those who perished on the 9/11 terrorist attack. So that is a patriotic rosary for our police, fire, and civilians and government personnel who perished that day. Also, our community is celebrating a anniversary concert on September the 11th, Community Christian Church, right here on North Main Street. That's at 214 North Main Street. Once again, it is a yearly event, and that was created to honor the life and memory of Todd Weaver, who grew up attending Community Christian Church with his parents. Unfortunately, Weaver died when 2 hijacked jets struck the World Trade Center tower on September 11, 2001. The first performance will be 3 p.m., and that's September the 12th at Community Christian Church. And reservations are required because seating is limited. Masks will be required. They will have a second concert. That'll be on September the 19th. And that one's going to be at the Church of the Lakes United Methodist Church. And that's at 5944 Fulton Drive, Northwest in Jackson Township. That one also is at 3 p.m., but it'll be on September the 19th. The one in North Canton will be here on September the 12th. And that'll be from 3 o'clock. If you want reservations, let's see, to make a reservation for that September the 12th concert, call 330-499-5438. Or you can visit their website at www.northcantoncccc.org. That is www.northcantoncccc.org. And you can reserve your tickets there. I've gone there in the past, and it is a wonderful tribute to the Weaver family. During the September 11 attacks in 2001, 2,977 people were killed. That was 19 hijackers committed murder-suicide, and more than 6,000 others were injured. The immediate deaths included 265 on the 4 planes, including the terrorists, 2,606 in the World Trade Center and in the surrounding area, and 125 at the Pentagon. The attacks remain the deadliest terrorist attack in world history. Most of those who perished were civilians, except for 344 firefighters, 71 law enforcement officers who died in the World Trade Center and on the ground in New York City. And another law enforcement officer died when on United Airlines Flight 93, when it crashed into the field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. 55 military personnel who died at the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia, and the 19 terrorists who died on board the 4 aircraft. Of the 2,977 people who died, 2,605 were U.S. citizens and 372 non-U.S. citizens, excluding the 19 perpetrators. And more than 90 countries lost citizens in the attacks. And let me share with that, because this is a day of remembrance throughout the world, including the United Kingdom, 67 deaths, Dominican Republic, 47 deaths, India, 41 deaths, Greece, 39 deaths, South Korea, 28 deaths, Canada, 24 deaths, Japan, 24 deaths, Colombia, 18 deaths, Jamaica, 16 deaths, Philippines, 16 deaths, Mexico, 15 deaths, Trinidad and Tobago, 14 deaths, Ecuador, 13 deaths, Australia, 11 deaths, Germany, 11 deaths, Italy, 10 deaths, Bangladesh, 6 deaths, Ireland, 6 deaths, Pakistan, 6 deaths, and Poland, 6 deaths. This 9/11 remembrance is not only experienced through the United States, but also throughout the world. In closing, I just want to share a couple of things with you. I have an article here, and it was written by Tim O'Brien. And Tim O'Brien is involved in communications, and he's an independent corporate communications practice. And I came across this article, and I'd like to share it with you at this time. 20 years on lessons learned. I told you all of this to properly share with you what I've learned as a communicator through it all. The first lesson is that no matter how significant you think the latest story you're working on may be, in time, it will fade. In fact, it will fade to such a degree that you yourself may not even recall the details. If the story is that important, you and others will need to work to keep it alive. In an event like the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil can begin to fade, so too can anything you're working on. The second second lesson is that while America can feel divided on most days, it's important to remember the one thing we all have in common, and it's the country in which we live. If we don't care about it and do the work to care for it and for each other, we sacrifice something special. Don't take America and its exceptional freedoms for granted. One of the most remarkable silver linings of such a numbing day was how the country came together in a way that probably hadn't been seen since the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941. Spontaneously across the country, American flags started flying everywhere you looked. The nation's collective response to 9/11 was to unite, and those who remember it fondly. This was no superficial thing. The inspiration for such a sense of patriotism was rooted in a natural inclination to want to defend yourself when attacked by a foreign enemy, but also by the example set by those first responders of that day. On 9/11, 2,996 people were killed in the terrorist attacks. This includes the 19 terrorists who were aboard those 4 hijacked aircraft. The dead were not just Americans. The people who died in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania represented over 78 countries. In New York, 2,763 died as a direct result of the attacks. This included the 343 firefighters and paramedics, 23 New York City police officers, and 37 Port Authority police officers. These are just the statistics. They are individuals who started their usual routine that day, much like you may have done this morning. Each day, each had family, friends, co-workers, and his or her own unique story. To go forward. You go forward. You go in to see who you can save. That's what those firefighters, police officers, and other emergency responders did. Their selflessness, their bravery, and their sacrifice during the attacks were the inspiration of those flags which flew that re-energized a sense of national pride. And it lasted much longer than you might expect. If your memories of 9/11 have started to fade, or if you really understood the full power of September 11, 2001, do yourself a favor and take the time to read up on it. Watch a view or two, listen to a podcast, and maybe most importantly, talk to those you personally know who remember that day. Make this 20th anniversary mean more than just a date. It's a cliche to say that if we forget the lessons of history, we are doomed to repeat them. The time we spend reminding ourselves that what 9/11 meant, is time well spent, and just could be a factor in making sure it never happens again. Thank you, Tim O'Brien, for sharing that piece with us. I remember where I was 20 years ago in uniform and working that day. So, my friends, take time to think about the day, reflect, and if you want to, reach out to wherever you live and visit your local police department or fire department, or just write them a card of thanks or drop off cookies or something like that for them if you'd like, or just stop by and say thank you. So that is my message this Wednesday. We'll never forget September in 2001 on that 9/11. I wish you all stay safe, keep well, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you.